From council to members. Like I said before, John, I said members have a few questions to ask as well. So we will have to give chance to Honorable Serif Sar to start his questions. And then Honorable Jammeh also have some questions for you. And then from there we can proceed. Thank you. So we resume meeting. Yes. So also earlier on I said we are going to close at 10 o'clock. We have reconsidered that we will close by 8 o'clock, latest 8:30. Let me look at the time first before I. 8:30. It's almost 7:30 in 1 hour time. So we will close for today, and we will negotiate your next appearance again before we leave today. Thank you. Honorable Sirif, you can start.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Ms. Ben, apart from the appointment of Augustus Plum by the High Court, was through the court order, was there any appointment or any assignment given to Augustus Plum by the Commission?
Yes, the Commission also appointed him as receiver. Yes.
The receiver under which properties?
He was appointed as receiver of, I think, Ocean Bay and Sun Beach and Dunes Hotel, I believe. Yes, I think he was appointed by the commission for those companies. Ocean Bay. Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Ben. During his appointment or assignment given to him by the Commission, have you ever ordered him to hand over Ocean Bay back to Social Security?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember. I don't think so, because his receivership was terminated and Foresight accountants were appointed.
You never ordered him to hand over Ocean Bay to...
I can't remember that, but if you have such an order, perhaps I can take a look at it. But I can't remember his being ordered because he did not complete the receivership. So I don't recall him being ordered to hand over the company to Social Security. I don't recall that.
Well, the reason why I'm asking this question is with regards to the conflict of interest that they were arguing with the council. Well, based on Mr. Prom's statement when he appeared here, he made mention that the issue of conflict of interest happened or appeared between both of you when you ordered him to hand over Ocean Bay and then Sun Beach back to Social Security, and then reality should started from there. So you made mention that it was only Mr. Kurang who claimed the issue of conflict of interest, but he also made the same thing. What's your response to that?
He might have made raised conflict of interest in this committee, but he certainly never raised conflict of interest while he was in office. If he did, I'm happy for you to share it.
Yeah, he did raise it, that there was a conflict of interest between your firm and Augustus Prom with regards to Ocean Bay and Sun Beach handing over, when he was doing his assignment, and he was asked to hand over to the two hotels back to Social Security, in which he felt that he should not have handed over it back to you, but back to Social Security, but to carry on with his assignment. And then that's what led to his termination.
That's absolutely untrue. And if you look at volume 1 of the report of the commission, you'll find the story about Augustus Prom and why his receivership was terminated. This is the report of the commissioners, not my report. If you have do you have the report? Sorry, the report of the commission. I think I might have the one.
You have the report, okay?
Which? Sorry, Ms. Bensouda,
The
should
report,
you need
the report of the
assistance,
commission
let
of
us know.
inquiry.
Do you need assistance? If you need, let us know. Then we can.
Oh, I will. Thank you for that offer.
Okay.
Thank you. But volume 1 of the commission of inquiry report sets out why Augustus Prom's services were terminated. So if he says in this committee that his services were terminated because of any conflict of interest, is absolutely untrue. So if you, with your permission, I'll draw your attention to page 25, I think. Page 25, and this is the report of the Commission of Inquiry. This is volume 1 and 2, published report that we have presented to His Excellency the President. And you'll find a whole section there on the Social Security and Augustus Prom receivership. And if you don't have a copy with you, I can read it.
Yeah, I can.
Volume 1 of the Commission's report was written by the chairperson of the JANNEH Commission, SBS Semega Jammeh, on behalf of the Commission. And at page 25, under the heading Social Security and Finance Corporation, that is SHFC, the acronym was used, versus Augustus Prom receiver. Augustus Prom accountants were appointed receiver by the Commission of Inquiry over 2 hotels at Cape Point, namely Ocean Bay Hotel and Resort and Sun Beach Hotel. Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation were by purchase owners of the two state leaseholds on which the hotels stood respectively. However, both properties were sublet to BP Investment Group FZE, who, until the Augustus Prom receivership, controlled and provided the management of the 2 hotels for touristic purposes. SSHFC became dissatisfied with the irregular payment of the rent by BP Investment Group FZE BP1 and terminated the said leases. BPI was, as a result, so aggrieved that they instituted legal action against Social Security in the High Court concerning the leases and their termination by SSHFC. The High Court stayed the legal action and referred the case to arbitration, which was stipulated in the leases. The arbitration is still pending. Despite the pendency of the arbitration ordered by the High Court, SSFG applied to the Commission by motion on notice asking for several orders, which, if granted, would have transferred management of the hotel to Social Security or compel Augustus Prom to enter into or execute a contract with prospective leases for the hotels. Augustus Prom objected on point of law to the motion filed. Counsel to the Commission recused herself from this matter, as she had been the retained solicitor of Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation, and rightfully wished to avoid a conflict of interest, which the law and best practices frowns on. Lawyer Musa Bachili temporarily replaced Counsel Bensouda. Lawyer Abdullah Sissoho appeared for Social Security and lawyer Jibril Ba appeared for Augustus Prom receiver. The Commission ruled against Social Security and dismissed the motion of SSHFC, mainly on the ground that as a Commission we cannot usurp the powers and responsibility of the High Court, which still had on our ruling dated 27th June 2018 is attached in our report at Appendix 3. Then the report goes on. Sorry, just give me a minute. I have to find the termination. of the receivership. Sorry, just one moment. Sorry, it's taking me a little to find the rest of the report. It's strange.
Miss Bensouda.
Ms. Bensouda, if
I will have
Sorry,
to, yes.
You want to-
Chair.
Sorry, I'll just point, I'm trying to find it, but let me just point at page,
if you may ask, if we are here to help, if you
Yes.
could tell us what
Counsel.
you're looking for. And
yes, I'm looking for the issue relating to Augustus Prom and the termination of their receivership and in favor of Forsyth and why Forsyth was appointed. It's in this volume, I'm sure of that, but I don't seem to be able to find it right now. So I read about what he said
Yes.
about the conflict.
Yeah,
That I was removed and I recused myself and some other lawyers were appointed.
yeah, that's where I want to come.
Okay.
With regards to the appointment of Mr. Bachelet, if I
Yes.
could remember, if I could recall from your listing, when you were in this thing, it was Mr. Bachelet was appointed to replace you or to replace your firm
Yes.
because of the word conflict. That's why you opted for him to be appointed.
That's why.
You opted for another firm to be appointed to take charge of the responsibilities that we are doing.
I recused myself, meaning I said I could not be the lawyer in respect of the investigations relating to Ocean Bay and Sun Beach because of my connection to, because of my representation of Social Security against those two, in respect of those two hotels. And so two other lawyers were appointed. I was the lawyer for Social Security, and therefore I was the lawyer for Ocean Bay and Sun Beach.
That was your firm. Your firm was
Yes,
representing them.
that was my
Yeah,
firm,
exactly.
yes. That was, we were the lawyers. I'll use we. We were the lawyers because we
Exactly.
have a retainer
Exactly.
for social security at some point, and then we were the lawyers for Ocean Bay and Sun Beach Hotel. Now, as lawyers for Ocean Bay and Sun Beach Hotel, we had taken the company called BP Investment Group, because Ocean Bay and Sun Beach had leased the hotels to BP Investment Group. And because of that, that lease was terminated. These two companies, the two hotels, were in court with BPI, and the matter was sent to arbitration. So there was a dispute already. Now, the commission was to investigate. The commission was to investigate these matters. And so I recused myself when the commission was investigating, in short.
Thank you.
Now, but if there is an allegation that their services were terminated because of me, I'm saying that is incorrect.
No, my question here is with regards to the issue of conflict of interest. Were they handed over this hotel back after the appointment of Mr. Toure?
No,
They were not handed over this hotel.
no. The commission said the hotel could not be handed over.
And it continued on the receivership.
Yes, the hotels continued on the receivership. And if you look at, I just saw that one, which is at page 31. Post-commission matters, it's headed, page 31 of this report. It says, Ocean Bay Hotel and Resort and Sun Beach Hotel heading. These two hotels are treated here together because both of them are located in Cape Point. The leaseholds of both are owned by Social Security. Both leaseholds are subleased to BPI Investment Group, and both are under the receivership of Augustus Prom, now replaced by Bakari Sanya of Foresight Chartered Certified and Management Accountants, whose receiverships end when this commission folds up. So, since there is a pending court case and arbitration between Social Security and BPI, we recommend, pending the resolution of the legal tussle, that a trustee manager be caused to be appointed by the Honorable Attorney General and Ministry of Justice to oversee the two hotels, which are currently ongoing and seemingly profitable. We also recommend that all due rental liabilities as agreed with NAWEC be settled out of any net profits. Thereafter, the liabilities, which are over 250 million owing to Gambia revenue and so on. But this is as at the time the report was submitted. The hotels were under receivership, and the new receivers in charge were called, the new receiver was Bakari Sanyang of Foresight Chartered Certified and Management Accountants. So before the commission ended, Augustus Prom's receivership was terminated, and a new receiver was appointed, and the receivership continued. And that is why the commission, in its report, recommended that a trustee manager should be appointed by the Attorney General to oversee the two hotels, which are currently ongoing and seemingly profitable. So at the time the commission ended, the hotels were still in receivership.
Thank you very much. I think this is the only question I have for you today. I will hand over the mic to my colleagues to come up with his own questions. Thank you.
Honorable Jammeh. Do you have questions? IT.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Bensouda, for being with us since yesterday. I think we're grateful. Yeah, feel that content. I just have a few questions that I want to administer with you. And I would start with your signed statement, looking at clause 20 to 22. Taking into account or reference to clause 20, 21, and 22 of your signed statement, don't you think it is a bit contradicting when you said court appointees are answerable to the courts instead of the commission? And as such, why the commission trying to reverse the set of percentage that was meant to be paid to Augustus Prompt from 10% to 3%?
Augustus Prom were first appointed by the Attorney General in the High Court case. So for all those companies over which he was appointed, or his firm was appointed, the firm, they are a firm of accountants. They were appointed as receivers. They were answerable to the High Court. It was the High Court that appointed them. But when it became necessary to appoint a receiver, the first one was Dunes Hotel. When during our investigation it was discovered that Dunes Hotel was purchased by the former president using funds from GN Gambia, the petrol company, the one that sells petrol station, GNPC. With funds from GNPC were used to purchase Dunes Hotel. The commission ordered that a receiver should be appointed over Dunes Hotel. Now, because Augustus Prom were already appointed over so many companies that belong to Jammeh, it was thought prudent to just appoint Augustus Prom because they were already had some familiarity. It was discussed and they were appointed by the commission over Dunes Hotel. That was the first appointment. Then when it was also necessary to appoint a receiver over Ocean Bay and Sun Beach Hotel, which were being run by the same foreign company, BPI, that is BP Investments, it was just said, okay, we are familiar with Augustus Prom. He is submitting his reports. Let's appoint the same company as the same firm as receiver for Ocean Bay and Sun Beach Hotel. So since the commission appointed Augustus Prom for Dunes Hotel, Ocean Bay, and Sun Beach, they were answerable to the commission for those hotels because it was the commission that appointed them. So they were answerable to the High Court for what the companies over which they were appointed by the High Court as receivers, and they were answerable to the commission over those companies. The commission appointed them as receivers, over which the commission appointed them as receivers. Now the question of the fees arose because when the receiver was appointed for Dunes Hotel, the order said he should consult with the Attorney General about his fees. When they were appointed over Ocean Bay and Sun Beach, the fees were not mentioned. But what is expected normally is that the receiver will apply and the fees will be fixed by the appointing authority. For the court, the fees are supposed to be fixed by the court. For the commission, the fees are supposed to be fixed by the commission or its directive. But when Augustus Prom took over those two hotels, instead of applying for their fees to be fixed, they started deducting fees from the revenues of the two hotels without the approval of the commission, without the authority of the commission. The commission was not aware. until the hotel management complained to the commission that they were surprised that Augustus Prom were deducting fees at a high level of 10% of revenue. 10% of revenue without authority. They were invited, they came, they were asked to submit their accounts, they did, and they did not deny that they were deducting 10% of revenue, but they sought to justify it. The commission said that was too high, and that was my opinion, because no receiver, there are guiding principles about all these things in the law. A receiver cannot deduct from revenue. It's not possible. They were receiver managers, but one, they cannot fix their own fees. Two, they cannot deduct. Nobody would fix a fee of 10% of revenue. This is all the money that is coming in before even expenditure was made. Salaries were paid or anything, they would take 10%. So by the time they were stopped, they had collected some $22 million approximately. So the commission invited them and asked them. They said, okay, they had a lot of work. They tried to justify that high level of fees on two grounds. The first ground was that this was the 10% they were being paid over the assets over which they were appointed high court in the courts. And therefore, they just automatically applied that 10%. The commission said, their proceedings, the commission said, no, that was not acceptable. There was an exchange of letters. They ought to have come for their fees to be fixed. So the commission ordered that they should be paid 3%, 3% of net profit. They said that was not acceptable. So the commission finally, because the commission had them when it ordered the 3%. When they said that was not acceptable by letter, the commission then decided to fix it at $300,000 per month. But by that time, the commission had come to an end. So the commission, the recommendation is there, that the recommendation is there, I'll find it, that as far as Augustus Prom was concerned, the Attorney General should recover the monies that they had collected without authority. That was the recommendation. So if they come here and say, and I did hear the testimony of Mr. Louis Prom, who is not an accountant, by the way. Augustus Prom is his father and his partner, but he was the manager in charge anyway. And so if he says that he was terminated because he had anything to do with me, it's totally incorrect. Their services were terminated because they did not seek authority. They did not apply to the commission for their fees to be fixed. Instead, they chose to deduct 10% from revenue as their fees without authority. And when they were told to reverse it, they refused and tried to justify why they were entitled to 10% of revenue. It was doubtful whether the company itself was even making 10%. Certainly that was higher than the rent Social Security was being paid.
Will it be right to say either the state or let's say the state, that is the Ministry of Justice, failed to renew their contract instead of terminating their contract?
Sorry, Mrs. Bensouda. If you need assistance, let us know, please, okay?
My question is it right to say Augustus Prom's contract wasn't renewed, instead to say his contract was terminated?
Augustus Prom had two contracts, one with the Attorney General and another one with the Commission. The one with the Commission was terminated. It did not end, so the question of renewal did not arise. I don't know anything about his contract with the Attorney General because I was not involved in that. But as far as he was appointed receiver by the Commission over Ocean Bay and over Sun Beach, the receivership was terminated.
Yeah, also from Prom's testimony, he did mention that then he was managing Ocean Bay and Sun Beach. The two enterprises were really flourishing in terms of revenue. Will that be right? or not?
Will that be right?
Yes.
I'm sure they were flourishing. They were making money, but let me explain. Okay, they were making money. I'll explain if you have a follow-up question.
So if they were making money, will it be right to renegotiate the payments from 10% to 3% in a situation where a particular enterprise is making profit?
Will it be right to negotiate? Let me, the premise of your question is a little bit, not a yes or no, but certainly it would be right. Augustus Prom are receivers, and under the law, they cannot fix their own fees. They cannot fix their own fees. They were a receiver appointed by an authority. Their fees have to be negotiated with that authority, the appointing authority. With regard to the High Court, he said he negotiated with the Attorney. Most of the assets over which he was appointed in the High Court were dead assets. These were not revenue-making assets. And they are, yes.
That is with the High Court.
Yes.
These were kind of dead assets.
Yes.
And however, the state through MOJ were committed to pay him 10%.
Yes.
Whilst in the other hand, that is with the other assets that he was managing, let's say Ozone Bay and Sun Beach, that were really making profit at the time of his appointment or during the time that he was appointed. According to him, Ozone Bay and Sun Beach were really making profit. Was it right to renegotiate for reverse in his payment?
Absolutely. That was the point. Was not whether these hotels were making profit. They were making profit before he was appointed. These hotels had a management.
Right.
The point of his appointment was to take to ensure that the control over the hotels was taken from that management and given to an independent receiver, manager, who would oversee the management of the hotel. But the management that was doing the work were still there. The hotel was a going concern. It was operating. They had their contracts and they were operating. So the fact that it was making profit had nothing to do with Augustus Prom or his fees. The issue is legally. It was unlawful. It was illegal for Augustus Prom to decide what fees they were going to be paid and to deduct it without reference to the commission. It was wrong. So it had nothing to do with whether the hotel was making profit or not. But what they did, they took advantage of the fact that they were receivers, fixed their own fees, and deducted it upfront. Perhaps if they had fixed their fee at 10% of net profit, the negotiations might have gone smoothly. But they fixed it would still be unlawful, but the commission might have been willing perhaps to ratify it, to have a discussion, and have a reasonable fees agreed. But they did two things wrong. One was to fix their own fees, and two, to base their fees on revenue. No receiver will be paid 10% of revenue. You don't even know whether the owners of the hotel will get 10% of revenue after paying all costs. So yes, the hotels were making money, but they were not entitled to fix their own fees, and they were not entitled to even deduct the fees from the revenue. There were two things. First, they were not entitled. It was illegal, and nothing can justify it.
But don't you think in that situation, the oversight might emerge from the commission for appointing a receiver manager without pegging what the receiver manager should earn at the end of the day?
That is a point, in that when they were being appointed, and everything was moving very fast, the fee ought to have been fixed. When they were appointed at Overdunes Hotel, which was a dead asset, it wasn't operating. The order said, I remember, I don't have it here, negotiate the fee with the Attorney General. But when they were being appointed for Ocean Bay and Sun Beach, unfortunately, the issue of fees were not addressed. But that is not fatal. any receiver, receivers are accountants and they are regulated by rules. They have a code of ethics. They cannot fix their own fees without reference. And they agreed, they admitted that they were wrong in doing that. They admitted before the commission that they were wrong in fixing their own fees.
Do we have that in writing to
Yes.
say?
Yes.
We have that in writing?
Yes.
And will you serve the committee with that correspondence where Augustus Prompt acknowledged making a mistake by allocating a 10% payment for his farm without following a due process?
Yes. I have it somewhere here. I'll just
You have it.
locate
You can just take your time, not
Yes.
even today.
Yes.
If we can, I will apply that if we can have that correspondence by Monday
Very well.
before closing hours,
Very well.
please. Good.
It's here, but I'll have to point you to it.
In your response to either the council or one of the members, you adduced that you were representing government interests through the agencies. Through the agencies. Let's say either Social Security or so,
Yes.
right? But was government represented in the commission, if I may ask?
No. Government, as government.
Yes, as government, because he said you were representing government through the agencies. And here, if I say the agency, specifically, I mean Social Security.
Perhaps I don't quite understand your question. You mean was Social Security represented, or was none of the parastatals were represented?
Now,
before
my
the
question is,
Uh-huh.
in your statement, if I heard you well, or in your response rather,
Yes.
if I heard you well,
Yes.
you did mention that government, you were representing government interests through the agencies.
Yes, I said government's interests and the agencies that social security interests align,
Yes,
and by representing the social security in the cases that were raised, it was
yes.
the same as representing government interests.
So my question is, was government represented in the commission?
No. Government wasn't represented in the commission. I was the council appointed by government to assist the commission, because the commission is an extension of the executive. It's the president that appointed the commission, and I was appointed by the government to assist the commission.
So, was the commission not supposed to be independent in totality?
Yes,
They were supposed to be.
absolutely independent in
Independent.
coming to their decisions and their recommendations.
Good. This is where I want us to look at conflict of interest. Looking at the principles of conflict of interest,
Yes,
I think there is one keyword which is familiarity with a specific institution or staff of institution. For example, your relationship with Social Security. Your relationship with Social Security, and also having you sitting in the Social Security board. Don't you think that gives you more privilege to know internally what Social Security was gaining from Ozone Bay and Sun Beach?
I did not sit on the Social Security Board. I was external counsel. I have a retainer, which is an agreement, very similar to the engagement agreement, as to what work I can do. When they have cases, I go to court. When they have land transactions, I prepare the document. But I'm not an employee. I'm not a director. I'm not in the management. I don't sit in the board. So I'm not part of their operation.
But you still have privilege to know in terms of business what Social Security was making in terms of income from these two specific hotels?
No, if I was not, I did not have access to their finances at all, because that is not, but unless they had a legal issue, in respect of that legal issue, I need to see their finances. Otherwise, I have no access to their finances.
At any point, on the basis of some of the emerging legal issues, were you at any point privileged to know their income stream? That is the income stream of Ozone Bay and Sun Beach Hotel, respectively.
No.
You didn't really know about their income with
No.
these two business entities?
It had nothing to do with my role as external counsel. I represented them in court cases primarily, and if they have a legal transaction, like they're doing an agreement, then they instruct me, give me the details, and I prepare the agreement as external counsel. That's what all external counsels do. It's different from in-house counsel, who is an employee who works with them. So I serve Social Security as an entity. I don't serve any employee of Social Security. I don't serve any director of Social Security. I serve the entity Social Security. My duty is to Social Security. Whatever was in the best interest of Social Security, that is my duty. But I don't know anything about their income streams, and I don't know anything about the income streams of Ocean Bay or Sun Beach or any other company that of whom we are the retained lawyers.
But the fact remains that you used to serve as the legal personnel for Social Security.
No, I was served as their external counsel.
As the external
counsel. We had a contract. If they have a case, we will do it. If they want to have a transaction, we will prepare the documents for them. But we were not part of their operations.
So now, having you serving as the lead counsel of the commission, and also one time serving Social Security as well as an external counsel, as you may refer to it, do you think it will be reasonable enough to investigate Ozone Bay and as well as Sun Beach Hotel? Will that not be kind of conflicting in any situation?
Not necessarily. Let me put it this way, not necessarily. Depends on what I am being asked to investigate. If I'm asked to investigate Ocean Bay, Sun Beach, it's not unusual. If you have, for instance, let me give you an example. You have auditors, they are external auditors, and a fraud happens. You have external auditors perhaps for the National Assembly. A fraud happens. The external auditors can be asked to investigate the fraud because they are already familiar with the rules and so on, and the accounting policies of the National Assembly. Nothing stops the National Assembly from asking the external auditors to investigate that particular fraud because they're expected to be independent. So there's nothing stopping Social Security or Ocean Bay from asking me to investigate any matter relating to their operation because they expect that I'll be independent. And since as external counsel, I have the advantage of understanding their policies, I probably will do a better job than someone else. However, when it came to Ocean Bay and Sun Beach, because a specific transaction was being looked at, that is the leasing arrangement between Ocean Bay and FZC, and we were already in court representing Social Security or Ocean Bay against FZC, it would not be right for my firm to be the plaintiffs in a case against FZC representing Ocean Bay, and then at the same time to be investigating that lease. They will expect that I will not be fair because I was already fighting them. How would I be fair to them in a commission in which I'm the lead counsel? But it was really not about conflict of interest as such. Because
and exactly my point.
So if I may say so, the interests of Ocean Bay and the interests of social security aligned, but their interest was opposed to the interest of FZC. Ordinarily, I can sue FZC on behalf of Ocean Bay, and that is what we did. We sued FZC on behalf of Ocean Bay. But when the commission came to investigate FZC, I recused myself. We said, well, look, we are the lawyers of Ocean Bay against FZC, so we cannot be expected to be independent in the commission against FZC because we are already suing them. So FZC will object. And they'll say, well, look, this woman has sued us. This law firm is taking us to court. And now, how can she be independent in the commission? In the commission, I am supposed to be independent. I don't hold anybody's brief. I don't hold anybody's brief, including government. I'm just independent counsel helping the commission come to a just conclusion with respect to everybody before the commission. So FZC, they did not object. I recused myself and said, you should take another lawyer to avoid any perception that I may be biased against FZC because I was already taking them to court.
At what point do you really rescue yourself from the investigations?
At the early stage, I wrote a memo. And I wrote a memo. I can bring you the memo. The memo is here in the bundle I brought to court. The memo is here. I wrote a memo presenting the matter to the commission. And I said in the memo, I don't think there is a conflict of interest, but FZC, the perception may be that I will be prejudiced, I will not be fair, and therefore the commission should decide. And the commission decided, let's hire another lawyer.
Was at any point in time that your issue was raised by other individuals? Because from your response, I understand you did said, aside from the then secretary of the commission, there was no other person who actually raised a red flag to say either you were conflicted or they weren't really satisfied with you having to play a role in investigating.
Can't remember that. But as far as I remember, no. Unless if you have something, it's been 6 years, 7 years. If you have something, then I look at it. But I can't remember anyone, absolutely, during the course of the commission, apart from the receiver, raising conflict of interest. I can't remember it. Formally before the commission,
Not even a lawyer, like, who raised concerns about your representation, or who raised concerns about you being the lead counsel and also having you representing Social Security previously?
I can't remember that. If it's possible, it would. If it was done, it would be on record.
I think this should be in records, counsel. If
Is it the one raised by Augustus Prom?
yes,
That is RS 19.
not only by Augustus Proms, but I think there was a legal practitioner in the course of the JANNEH Commission who actually challenged the independence of.
You're talking about in the proceedings.
Yeah, during the proceedings.
Not the submissions.
Not the submissions, I mean during the proceeding.
No, actually, I think the one she's referring to should be counsel, lawyer Marisamba. Is that the one?
Exactly, Chair.
Conflict of interest? I can't remember that.
Mari actually raised something. I don't know whether it's in connection to conflict of interest. I think Mari was the lawyer for Mr. Amadou Samba.
Sam. Yes, exactly, Chair.
Okay.
I can't remember. I know she raised objections, but conflict of interest, I can't remember that. But if she did, it would be on record.
You are correct here. Ms. Bensouda, yes, the member I think is correct that a lawyer raised concern during the proceedings of the JANNEH Commission who made mention about conflict of interest. I think she was also representing Amadou Samba, I remember, and then you were having an exchange with Mr. Samba during that time. So I think that's the one he is referring to. So maybe I know it's in record. I'm not sure whether we have it in our archives, but it must be in record though. But you can proceed with your
Yeah,
question.
we
what you want to
can
ask.
proceed.
Um,
And
conflict of interest cannot just be raised as a statement by a lawyer. Conflict of interest has to be specific.
Yeah, no.
The
Now
the
what
chair
I
has
will
to file
no,
an
Miss
objection.
Miss Bensouda.
Mhm.
Now what we will do, we will allow him to ask the question that he wanted to ask,
Yes.
and then you can react to the question. Yeah, Honorable, please proceed.
Okay.
no, I did ask the question. Aside from the then secretary to the commission, were there any other person who raised a concern with regards to Ms. Bensouda being the lead counsel to be conflicted?
It's been 7 years. I can't remember. I know lawyers appeared and I had exchanges, and I remember specifically that I had an exchange with Mrs. Mary Samba, but I cannot remember that the exchange was about conflict of interest.
So,
I can't remember that.
Chair, just to save
But if
time.
you have the record, because whatever she said, it must have been on record. The transcripts of the record.
Exactly. This is where, in fact, I am
Yes.
coming in.
Let me look at the.
No, in your subsequent appearance, we will make sure we have a cut of the record to give you the privilege to listen to what lawyer Marisamba's concerns were.
Okay.
Then you can also have something to respond on, just to give a fair, fair grounds. And also, my next question would be, do you have any communication from Social Security regarding Ozone Bay and Sun Beach Hotel to file a suit to evict them, which lead you to rescue yourself?
Yes, that was the whole purpose, because Social Security wanted to terminate this was before the commission, they wanted to terminate the lease. And so we took action against them, and they raised the fact that the lease is provided for arbitration, and the matter was referred to arbitration. So as at the time the commission actually was established, the matter in court had already been stayed for it to be referred to arbitration, but it was still in court.
And until now, it is still in court, or do you have any idea what was the outcome?
No, I don't. I can't tell you of it.
Can the committee be privileged to have a copy of this document?
You mean the court?
Social Security writing for you to file a suit, or for your firm to file a suit, to be specific?
I will check. But we did file a suit, so there's no doubt about that. We filed a suit, and that's what the record shows.
So if you can kindly provide us with a copy of that suit,
very well,
we will be indeed grateful.
All right.
How long do you have a retainership with Social Security?
I think I had a retainer from 1996 to 2010.
To 2010?
Yes.
It haven't exceeded to 2017 also?
No, in 2017 we did not have a retainer. We were just instructed to file cases, but we did not have a retainer.
So if you said you were instructed, who were you instructed by?
The management.
Of Social Security?
Yes. They wrote, I'm sure it has to be the management.
And this was also done by writing?
It should have been, because they usually would write. Yeah, it should have been.
Chair, I also want to apply that she provide us with a copy of that document as well. That is the retainership.
Chair, you're not on record.
From Social Security.
Security.
To for us to take action on their behalf.
A legal action on their behalf.
We'll check. We will check.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Honorable, I'm being informed by the technical team that they have the clip. If you want to play it, the clip that you requested for.
Yeah, if they have access to the tape, I will apply that we have a replay of it, please. Chair, with your permission.
Okay, Council. If IT is ready to play it, we can go ahead.
Honorable, perhaps you can proceed with your questioning, 1 or 2 questions. By the time those answers are forthcoming, the video will be ready.
Ms. Bensouda, having to engage or hire lawyer Bachili to step in for you, was that not really a clear indication to say it was a waste of resources for the state, having you been appointed and having you to rescue yourself to have Mr. Bachili to step in? Was that not a double cost for the commission or for the state?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So
The terms of reference of the commission was not about social security. It was about all the institutions that were listed, all the properties that were listed, and any other thing.
yeah, but
Yes, so I was underpaid, in fact. So the fact that they had to hire another lawyer when I recused myself was absolutely normal, and it was anticipated.
if you said you were underpaid, and then also if you should say it was normal to outsource another legal practitioner when in reality you were appointed to do that specific or actual job that this particular legal officer was doing. Do you think?
Honorable,
Yes.
it was anticipated that if there was a conflict, as I said, it was anticipated that if there was any issue that arises in which I was conflicted, another lawyer would be hired to step in. This was anticipated right from the beginning. And as I said,
It was anticipated that there was going to be.
If a conflict arose, then it was anticipated.
It was anticipated
by my
that
discussions with the Attorney General when I was engaged. It was anticipated that if any conflict were to arise, then the necessary action would be taken, which would be that I would recuse myself and someone else would be hired. But to say that it was a waste of resources to pay me, the work I had done, nobody can pay me for. I did not do it for money. That's why I'm saying I was underpaid.
No, I didn't necessarily say it was a waste of resources to pay you.
Okay.
What I said was, is it not a waste of resource to pay another lawyer when already there is already a lead counsel appointed? Just to set the record straight.
It was not a waste of resource. They had to pay someone else. Conflict of interest arises everywhere, everywhere. Even if you had a lawyer, I don't know whether you have one for the National Assembly, And if a matter were to arise in which the lawyer was conflicted, he would recommend that you appoint another lawyer. That is normal. It's absolutely normal.
Yeah, I think we have over 5 lawyers
Exactly.
working for the National Assembly
Exactly.
on full-time basis. So basically, in any situation such arises, I believe,
You will be covered.
yes.
But in that case, I was appointed alone as the sole lawyer. And so it was with such a huge task, ranging over so many organizations. It's in fact a surprise that more conflict of interest issues did not arise. But there is a mechanism for addressing it. If I'm conflicted, then someone else will be appointed on the matter in respect of which I am conflicted. That was anticipated. So it was not a waste of resources at all.
You want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to come in now. So I just wanted to ask, the video is probably ready for you, for them to play it on the conflict of interest. And I would say if you have more questions, if they are not very much related to conflict of interest, I will allow you to skip them, because we said we're going to close at 8:30. And then when she comes back, then you can proceed with the rest of the questions, sir, please, so that we can stick to the time. So that's
Yeah,
what we've agreed.
because I still have about 5
Five
or
or
whatever seats
Yes, so
of maybe about 10, 15 questions. So
yes, so
let's get the video
done, and then
and we close it here for tomorrow.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you.
Yes, IT, if you're done with the video, please can you quickly play it, and that will be our final. We cannot hear anything.
Does not want us to deal with that. But I am It's not a question of me wanting A or B. This is standard procedure. You cannot make allegations based on nothing. And it doesn't mean that just because counsel, any counsel, was involved in preparing documents, it doesn't mean that that particular person is banned from this proceeding. I'd just like to conclude by saying that I have no concerns or fear about any evidence that anybody may produce, because I know I have never acted for ex-President Jammeh in any capacity. I know I have not acted for any close associates that have been named close associates before this commission in any capacity whatsoever. I am not saying I have not prepared documents. I might have. But the one thing is clear. I have never acted for ex-President Jammeh. And I have never acted for anybody named a close associate. When the time comes and I see any close associate, in relation to him, I may be conflicted. I will be the first person to bring it to the attention of the commission. I have no personal interest in this process, none whatsoever. I'm doing my duty as counsel, as I was appointed as counsel. And I will not hesitate to do what I think is right. And I will not be intimidated. Thank you.
But one cannot be allowed to come to this commission. And it doesn't mean that just because
I believe that's the end of the clip. Yes, it is.
Huh? I think it's already completed. It's already completed. Yeah, that was clear. Thank you. Honorable,
Yes.
you want to react before we...
Yeah, I want to react, Ma. Going back to my previous question, will it be right to say it was not just the former secretary to the commission and as well as Augustus Prompt? Not, let me in fact take the issue of Augustus Prompt. I would say it was not just the former secretary to the JANNEH Commission who actually raised concern, but also there was a lawyer who equally raised concerns about the independence of the commission. Listening to that.
Honorable member, there was a lawyer, certainly it was, the tape speaks for itself. She raised concern, but the concern, as you had the chairman said, was not being raised properly. And she never came back to raise any specific, make any specific application. The chairman challenged her to say, you cannot raise it over nothing. We don't have the evidence. Go bring the evidence. And she never did. So I don't call that as raising a conflict of interest issue. I think the tape speaks for itself. She made, she alluded to conflict of interest. She alluded to conflict of interest.
Which I agree.
And the chairman dealt with it. For me, that's the end of the matter.
Yeah, you know, listening from that tape, as you have rightly mentioned,
Yes.
the particular lawyer raised her concerns.
Yes.
And she was tasked by the then chairperson of the commission to come forward with practical evidence. So my next question was going to be, was at any point that lawyer Samba was able to advance her material evidence in connection to you being conflicted in the entire process?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember. Thank you.
Don't remember that.
All right, that's okay. I think that brought us to the end of today, Ms. Bensouda.
We're still going on conflict of interest. But Mr. Chairman, I have a concern, and I'd like to put the concern up front. Now, I am the witness of the committee, and I was served with this.
Do you want to put that on record or?
Yes,
just-
please, yes,
Okay.
yes, on record. Certainly, it's a serious concern that I have, because this is my second day at the commission. I have looked at the motion by which this committee was set up, and I also was served with a summons, and in the summons, I was summoned to come and give evidence on everything that I know concerning. Let me not paraphrase, because I have the summons here. To testify all that you know on the subject matter of the inquiry, which is an inquiry into the sale and disposal of the assets identified by the Commission of Inquiry into the financial assets of and activities of public bodies. Now, my submission really was with regard to the subject matter of the summons. I have also looked at the motion for the establishment of a special select committee to inquire into the sale and disposal of the assets identified by the Commission of Inquiry into the financial activities, etc., which and the operative part, which is the most important, which is paragraph 8, says, now therefore this Honorable Assembly resolves to establish a special select committee, hereinafter referred to as the committee, pursuant to section 109(2) of the Constitution and order 95(5) of the National Assembly Standing Orders, to inquire into the sale and disposal of the assets identified by the Commission and forfeited to the state. And every other paragraph after that is with regard to the assets. I have been here 2 days, and all the questions I have been asked with regard to my appointment as lead counsel to the Commission. So I have asked myself, and I would like guidance as to whether there was a supplementary motion or supplementary modifying the mandate of the Commission. And if there is one, then I'm entitled to have a copy so that I can prepare myself properly. Now, if there was no supplementary motion, then it would seem to me, and for the record, whilst I have no objection to answer some of these questions, because these are issues because of, as I said, manufactured public perception that have agitated the mind of Gambians, and I mean, about myself, my role, and so on. I don't mind answering the questions. But I'd like to put it on record that these questions are outside the mandate of this committee. And whereas you do have authority, your authority must flow from the mandate you are given by the National Assembly itself with regard to your investigations. So I'd like to be guided, because it would seem to me now that the Commission is focused on allegations that have been made by individuals and not on the sale of the assets, because all this conflict of interests were allegations made by a single person. But the motion that was passed was not about me. It was about assets. It was not about the manner in which I was appointed. On this whole 2 days, all the issues have nothing to do with the mandate and the reason why I am here. And as I said, whilst I don't mind answering the question, I'd like it to be on record that really I think this committee is straying from its mandate, and it should be bound by its mandate. Thank you.
No. Honorable wanted to observe something before you respond, and then I can put the order. Quickly.
Yes, I've heard the submission of the witness, Honorable Chair, and while we dealt with this yesterday, there's no harm in dealing with it again, and I would ask that Ms. Bensouda would go through the entirety of the operative parts. When it comes to, for yesterday, it was an issue of the documents that we were requesting. And once you look at E, you would see that the committee is empowered to request for any and all documents that it feels are relevant to its mandate. But the mandate proper cannot be only obtained from reading the operative part as you are reading it alone. You still have to read paragraph 3 along with the paragraphs that you are reading from the operative part.
Want me to read?
And it's quite lengthy. If you wish to read it,
Yes,
if you
I'll
insist,
read it.
that's fine. Honorable Chair, with your permission, she could. But if you read the terms of reference, and I believe because this is a public hearing, perhaps the technical team can post this motion, because this is the second time this has been raised, and just unequivocally just post this motion on our page for transparency purposes. But if you read the operative parts with paragraph 3, all the questions that have been administered are within the scope of the mandate of this committee. And aside from that, yes, indeed, the central focus is the sales and what happened to the proceeds of sales. But it will be irrational for this committee to delve straight into sales. There are certain cosmetic issues that need to be dealt with before one can deal with sale properly. And I'll just end it at that, but anyway, Honorable Chair, back to you.
That's okay. That's fine. That's in order. Honorable, you want to check?
I just have a few observations in response to Ms. Bensouda. I think I would start by acknowledging and appreciating her observation, and then really thanking her for bringing it forth. But one line she did say is of keen concern to me, that the committee is staying off its mandate.
It's straying from it.
From its mandate. I think that needs to be corrected. And the other thing she said was, all the issues of conflict are issues that are being brought up by individuals. I think that also needs to be corrected. If you have been a keen follower of the proceedings of this committee, you will realize that our line of questioning to you did not differ in any way with all the witnesses that appear before us. First, we deal with establishment and appointments. And that's exactly what the committee is dealing with you. And that's to ensure, as council have rightly placed it, before you go into sales, the committee is interested to establish other things. And if that coincides in your particular case to allegations or whatsoever that is in the public space, that is of no concern to the committee. The committee is simply doing its job, and there is nothing special about your case. We are dealing with you or administering questions to you like we've done to any other witness. All other witnesses that have come before us, similar questions have been administered to them. So, Honorable Chair, my concern is to tell Ms. Bensouda that this committee is not deviating from its mandate. We know our mandate very well. And we know that we cannot go beyond our scope. The committee is well informed. This is not the first time we've been doing it. Committee work is our operations. So we know our job, and we know that we are doing it in accordance to the text that was given to us by plenary. But one thing of concern is to allege that the committee or the questions that are being posed to you are allegations that are being advanced by people outside. I think that, Chair, needs to be corrected. The committee have no intent or purpose to be guided by information in the open source. No. So I would advise that Ms. Bensouda goes back to the records and watch the proceedings we have with other witnesses. Thank you. But let that be corrected, please. That needs to be corrected.
Witness came here and raised the issue of conflict. So I think it's important also for Ms. Bensouda to also come in front of us and also clear herself. Because witness came here and raised the issue of conflict. Witness came here and raised the issue of conflict. And when they were asked, most of them pointed fingers at you. So you come in here and in trying to clear is also very important, because this is the report that we have to report back to the plenary and give them our findings. So it's going to be very important for you also to clear up yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council and honorable members. And thank you, Ms. Bensouda, for raising that concern. I will have to say, first, I think the committee is in line with the motion that was established, or that was passed in Parliament for this committee to look into the sales and disposal of assets. But like council put it, you cannot directly look at sales and disposal of assets without looking at the things that were done before the sales and disposal. And I think the committee in its operation, just alluded to by my colleague, most of the witnesses that came, we had thematic areas that we looked into with those witnesses. It depends on where you are. And for the commission chairperson, I remember council dealt with him on the issue of establishment, the appointments, and all that. And even the attorney general. So I think the committee is in line to ask, and of course, this issue of conflict of interest was not an issue of the committee itself. I think we had a witness before this committee who came and then raised the issue of conflict of interest, and it became a concern for honorable members to ask questions. So for us to deal with conflict of interest alone is not what this committee will be working on, because we had a lot of issues to deal with you as well. Yes, you were assigned to come and face the committee for about 2 or 3 days, but I am sure we will have to discuss that later, because we will need you for more extra days to proceed with other issues. Just for you to know, because I know you're looking at the motion, but like council said, if you read the motion, you will see that the committee has the mandate. It does not only limit us to look at entirely sales and disposal alone. Of course, it's a committee. There are a lot of issues in our operations that we also need to ask. And of course, as members of parliament, when a witness also raise a concern about conflict of interest, and members of parliament do have interest in that as well. If you are here, I think it's in order for them to also ask that question. And I think that is exactly what they've done. We will get into the issue of sales and disposal. I'm sure council will deal with that, in your next appearance with this committee. So just for the interest of progress, since you are here to support this committee, to give us information, let that not be an issue. We can progress with what we have, and then allow us to ask questions, and then you give us more information, more clarity, so that we can have a good report for the people as well. Thank you. So we'll adjourn for today, and meeting adjourned until Monday. Monday, we will proceed with the witness. Yeah, not tomorrow. Next Thursday.